Hello children, welcome to NEET AIPMT Foundation Biology online classes. This is plant breeding and crop improvement part 1. So children, the practice of rearing domesticated plants and animals for obtaining food and other useful products is called agriculture. Okay? It has two components, that is agronomy and animal husbandry. The agronomy is the science of utilizing plants for food, fuel, feed and fiber, whereas animal husbandry is the science of systematic breeding and raising domesticated animals as per human requirement. Okay. Domestication is a process of taming of wild plants and animals and other organisms under human management. Okay. So, here in this lesson, plant breeding. What is plant breeding? Plant breeding is the genetic improvement of crops in order to create desired varieties of plants, types that are better suited for cultivation and that give better yields and are resistant to diseases. Okay, there are several steps involved in plant breeding. Okay, are you ready children? Let us proceed to know about what is plant breeding and what is crop improvement and methods of crop improvement. Very interesting lesson, very important. Okay. So, man depends upon the plants directly or indirectly for his food, clothing, medicines, etc. The man has been developing the new varieties of plants, cultivating them and enjoying their produce since the beginning of civilization, isn't it? In order to meet the demands of ever growing population, the development of better varieties of crops has become a great necessity, isn't it? Nowadays the population has been increasing, so there is a great necessity for the improving the varieties of crops. Thus, the aim of the present day agriculture is to get a higher yield by developing superior varieties of crops. Thus, the development of new varieties of plants possessing the desirable characters from the existing varieties is called plant breeding. Okay. What are desirable characters? The desirable characters means the characters which are advantageous, such as faster growth, higher yield, disease resistance, drought resistance. These are all desirable characters. Okay, every farmer wants these characters in their crop. Okay, so improving those characters is called plant breeding. Okay, so one of the primary objectives of agriculture is to produce the food. In the entire history of agriculture, the food production has remained a prime objective. Okay. So, the techniques of crop production, this is very, very important. What are the techniques? There are some steps in the breeding a new genetic variety of a crop. Crop improvement technologies improve the potentialities of higher yield and food quality in crops. Okay. The crop improvement technologies improve potentialities of higher yield and food quality in crops. Okay. So, what are those steps? Like the collection of variability, means the entire collection, the plants or seeds having all the desired characters, means desired characters for all genes in a given crop is called germplasm collection. A good germplasm collection is essential for a successful breeding program. And evaluation and selection of the parents, cross fertilization, that is cross hybridization among the selected parents, the selection and testing of superior recombinants, testing, release and commercialization of the new cultivators. Okay. So, these are all the techniques involved in the crop production. So, the new varieties and hybrids of various crops released by various crop improvement techniques are ultimately aimed to increase the yield and better quality. But these potentialities are realizable only when the crops are managed and grown under conditions, okay, conducive to express their genetic potentialities. The techniques to release the potentialities of varieties and hybrids of various crops are termed as crop production techniques. Okay. Oh, finally, we can say that the crop improvement is nothing but the genetic improvement of the crop is called as a crop improvement. Okay. Improving its quality and quantity of production, quality and quantity of production, both must be increased. How? By altering the genes present in that particular variety of the crop. Okay. So, the increasing the genetic potentialities is called as a crop, the plant breeding and crop improvement. Okay. So, the techniques in the crop improvement, the first one, soil management techniques. There are different techniques are there. The first technique, soil management techniques. This is very important. Okay. Soil management technique which in turn include soil fertility management practices and soil conservation practices also. Okay, management practices and conservation practices. Then water management techniques. It involves both under irrigated and the rain fed situations, means rain dependent seasonal crops. Okay. Then next the weed management techniques. Weed management techniques means, so this which include the weed management techniques include chemical weed control, cultural weed control, integrated weed control practices. Okay. So, the weed control management involves chemical weed control, cultural weed control and integrated weed control practices. Okay. So, cultivation practices, the fourth one technique, which method is suitable to grow the crops. So, such a cultivated practices must be selected. Then nutrient management techniques, means right nutrient in right time we have to give to the crop, so that it produce, it assimilates, it utilizes and give the result. Okay. These are the 5 more techniques are the techniques of crop production: soil management technique, water management technique, weed management technique, cultivation practices and the nutrient management techniques. All these techniques aim at providing most congenial situations for a crop to express its potentiality. Okay. 50 to 70% of the success of a farmer depends upon the selection of the good quality of seed. Okay, that is the first. Okay. So, among the techniques, nutrient management technique aim at providing sufficient nutrients at the required stage in the required form, while water management technique aim at providing the ideal situations for growth of crops. Okay. Weed management technique is also very, very important. You know, weeds means unwanted plants. So, these unwanted plants must be removed time to time. So, weed management technique aims at keeping the land weed free so that the crop does not experience the competition by unwanted plants. While soil management technique, this is very important. Soil management techniques aim at maintaining the fertility of the soil and retention of the soil in such a way that it is available for long term production. Okay. The nutrients can be provided to crops in the form of fertilizers or manures or both. Okay. So, the nutrients can be provided to the crops by fertilizers or manures or both, as the crop plants remove large quantity of nutrients for their growth. These nutrients need to be replenished in such a way that they are available to the crops on long term basis. Okay. Natural nutrients in the form of compost, in the form of manures, that is biofertilizers, must be supplied to the field. Okay. So, crop improvement. Now, come to the actual topic, crop improvement. Each crop is in fact an adaptation from wild type to a cultivated type. Okay. All the present day crops are, once upon a time, they are wild. Okay. So, each crop is in fact an adaptation from wild type to a cultivated type. The wild types or wild species of each crop can be traced to their natural habitat, where such species are grown naturally without human interference. Okay. So, this is the way how the improvement of the crop can be done. So, here first the plant selected, the genetic modification must be done, screening for the desired modifications, removal of recombinant DNA. Okay. Improved plant means the plant that contains a new gene fragment. Okay. The plant without a new DNA fragment but contains a small modifications of its own DNA. Okay. Gene manipulation it is called. The next, the plant without a new DNA fragment and without modifications of its own DNA. The improved plants shows these qualities. Okay. Now, the even cultivated species of a crop exhibit greatly varying climatic adaptations. Okay. Native varieties, wild varieties, they are very much resistant to the changes in the climate, climatic adaptations. So, within a given species of crop, there may be a number of varieties, okay, number of varieties exhibiting specific distinguishing characters, all their characters including the yield, potentiality, resistance to pests and diseases, quality are governed by their genetic makeup. So, these are all we have to consider. The main objective of crop improvement is to change their genetic content, okay, to change their genetic content in order to improve the crops in respect of yield, quality, resistance, okay, disease resistance improving the quality of the production, improving the yield, okay, quantity, yield means. So, what are the to be done? Genetic modification may be done, then it must be screened, then recombinant DNA. Some of the plants that contain the new DNA fragment, new gene has to be introduced. Some plant without new DNA fragment, but contains a small modifications of its own DNA. So, all these things can be done during the process of crop improvement. Okay. Methods of plant breeding. There are different methods of breeding. There are different techniques are based on the type of reproduction and the pollination operating in a crop. So, there are 5 important methods of plant breeding. What are they? They are introduction, selection, hybridization, mutation breeding, polyploid breeding. These are the 5 important methods of plant breeding. Okay. What are they? Introduction, selection, hybridization, mutation breeding and polyploidy or polyploid breeding. Okay. Cross breeding. What is cross breeding? The combining 2 sexually compatible species to create a variety with the desired traits of the parents. Okay. Here one example is given, apple. The honey crisp apple gets its famous texture and flavor by blending the traits of its parents. Okay. Polyploidy here, the multiplication of the number of chromosomes in a crop to impact its fertility. We know that every chromosome consists of genes which express the traits or the characters. If more number of the genes are introduced present, the more number of qualities, more number of characters we can able to see. The multiplication of the number of chromosomes in a crop to impact its fertility, this is called polyploidy. Okay. Seedless watermelon. So, here it is routine seeded watermelon, but the seedless watermelons are created by crossing a plant with 2 sets of chromosomes with another that has 4 sets. Okay. The seedless fruit has only 3 sets of chromosomes. Okay. The seedless fruits are produced by stopping the fertilization, that is called okay. Here the polyploidy technique is used in producing the seedless fruits. Parthenocarpy, that phenomenon is called parthenocarpy. Next, protoplast fusion. Here another example is given. The fusion of cells are the cell components to transfer traits between the species. So, here mealy sterility is transferred from the radishes to red cabbage by fusing their cells. Okay. The male sterility helps plant breeders make hybrid crops. Okay. Now, come to the actual methods of plant breeding. Introduction as crop improvement. What is introduction? When a cultivated variety of species attempted to be grown outside its well adapted climatic periphery, such variety is said to be introduced to the new area. Okay, there are so many problems are there whenever you are going to introduce a new variety in a particular area. Okay, this method of introduction was followed by many ancient travelers, diplomats, warriors, kings, almost inadvertently in many crops. Okay, because the ancient man was nomadic, is to move from place to place in search of food, in search of comfort, in search of many things. Then what is now actual introduction? As a crop improvement method has led to introduction of crop itself to the new region, or introduction of new cultivated variety to an already existing crop of such region. Okay. So, this may be, for example, the potato is an introduced crop to India. Okay, already existing crop is there and we are introducing the new variety of the same plant species, then there is a chance of some attack of some new disease. So, that is why before introduction they used to do the quarantine. Okay. Quarantine means the plant must be placed somewhere and observed whether that is tolerant to that particular area or any disease it is carrying, and all those things. The quarantine test it is called. Then they will introduce to the new area. Okay. So, here the best example, potato is an introduced crop to India. Okay. So, more we are going to discuss in the next class. Thank you for watching our video. Have a nice day.